All right. This is 2-3 continue. This is the last worksheet I'm going to give you over 2-3. This is going to be actually solving for y. Remember, back whenever we had section 1-4, we did a whole lot of stuff in that section. The first part that we did was you guys were actually solving for a variable given a specified value, correct? I asked you to solve for W, I asked you to solve for H, solve for A, solve for X, right? Just for you to respond. Yes? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because that's what we're going to do again today. We're going to solve for Y when you're going to have X's and Y's in there. Step 1, solve for Y. Step 2, find the slope. Step 3, find the y-intercept. Step 4, graph the y-intercept. Step 5, graph more points using the slope. And step 6, connect the dots. Now, an example of what we're doing today. Are we ready?
Yeah. Sure. I ain't nothing.
Come on, you're about to get road rash because I'm about to step on the gas here. Ready?
Let's go. I'll copy out.
You copy.
Take the other expert.
Write the equation in slope-intercept form. Whenever I say slope-intercept form, what should come to your brain?
MX plus B.
MX plus B.
Yeah.
Yes, y equals MX plus B. That is correct. So if I'm asking for slope-intercept form, I'm asking for the slope and the y-intercept. What do you have to do in order to get the slope and the y-intercept? 3 little words. Well, 2 words in the letter. Solve for y. Solve for y. That's what that means, okay? So what we're actually doing is we're solving for y. So if I'm solving this thing for y, there's my y. So what do I do to get rid of what first? I need to subtract the 5x. Why am I subtracting it? Because it's currently positive. So negative 4y is equal to, now what do I write first? The x value or the 16? Why do I want to write the x first? Because what am I putting it in? The form of. And slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So that's why I'm going to put the x value first. Now what do I do? I'm solving for what? Solving for y, so what's attached to it? How? So how do I get rid of it? We're going to divide each and every term on the left and the right side of the equal sign by negative 4. Not both sides, but each term. The reason why we're going to divide each term by negative 4 is because when we do that, we simplify, the slope falls out and the y-intercept falls out. So we understand that. So when I solve this thing, I'm going to get y is equal to, a negative divided by negative is a positive 5 over 4x. 16 divided by negative 4 is going to be minus 4. So now I have it in slope-intercept form, so I've done that part. Now I need to find the slope. So what is the slope? The slope is going to be, I don't have a negative 5 over 4. I have a positive 5 over 4. And what does that mean graphically? What is the graphical definition? That means it's up 5 units, and then what?
Right.
Why am I going to the right 4 units? Because it's positive. Very good. Now what is my b value? Negative 4. Now the b value stands for the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is always going to be a point on the y-axis. And if it's on the y-axis, what does that imply about x? If I'm a y-intercept, that means I've landed on the y-axis. What are all the x-coordinates that are points on the y-axis? They're always 0, right? Okay? Which means this is the point 0, -4. Do we all understand that?
Yeah.
So now I am simply going to group these together. And I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste. And now I'm going to graph my line. So how do I go about graphing my line? What do I have to graph first?
Go to -4.
I need to graph what?
4. 0, -4.
0, -4. So I'm going to plot the point 0, -4, and from there, what am I going to do?
You're going to go up on
I'm going to go up 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a point. Can I do that again? Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I do it again? Sure. Well, let's say I don't want to go up. Can I do it again another way?
Yeah. Go down.
Well, the opposite of up would be down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the opposite of the right would be the left. And the reason why I'm going to the left is because I need it to remain a positive slope line. Do you understand that? Yeah, I'm sure. And there's my line. Do you see what I see? Way up on the board, up here.
This is not straight.
All lines are straight. It's just not exactly going through the point that I want it to. Chances are probably not for long. Okay? Do we understand that, yes or no? Good. Let's do the whole thing all over again. But this time I give you a little bit of a problem that got hit with the ugly stick. Ooh, fraction. Fractions aren't necessarily ugly, are they? Okay, let's say they're ugly. How do I make them look pretty? Make them into whole numbers. So how do I make them into whole numbers? LCD, that's beautiful little letters there. I need to find the highest denominator, and I need to do my multiplication tables of them, right? So what is the first number that both of them go into? Well, obviously 4. I just showed you that to remind some of you, just in case you forgot. So I'm going to multiply each term by the value 4. So when I multiply each term by the value 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1, bring down the -3x. 4 divided by 2 is 2, drop down the 1y. 4 times -1 gives me -4. Now I'm going to have -3x. 2 times 1 is 2y is equal to -4. Now, folks, has the DNA of this entire equation changed? The DNA would be the slope of the y-intercept. No. How do I want you to think about this? This is all of you when you get out of bed in the morning, your hair is 15 million different directions, and your breath smells like you're going to kill somebody if you breathe on it. Right? That's you in the morning. This is you whenever you're walking out the door after you brush your hair and comb your hair and brush your teeth, all that jazz, right? Let's hope you did all that, right? Then you're not going to kill somebody whenever you look at them or breathe on them, right? Okay? You're still the same person, you're just a little bit more presentable, correct? Same thing here. Now, I still need to solve this thing for y. So what do I do if I'm solving for y? Well, here's y. I'm going to add 3x to both sides. Very good. So I have 2y is equal to 3x minus 4. Notice I put the x in front of the y-intercept because our formula is y equals mx plus b. Yes? Now, I'm solving for what? Solving for y. So what's attached to the y? So how do I get rid of it? Take each term and divide it by 2. So I'm going to have y is equal to positive 3 over 2x minus a2. So now I am in the form of y equals mx plus b, which is a beautiful thing, but now what do I need to pull out of that equation? What is my slope in this equation? 3 over 2. Positive 3 over 2 indicates what graphically?
Up 3 to
Up 3
over the right 2.
to the right 3. Do you see how I don't say over? I say direction, right, or left. Because whenever you say over, you're going to say, well, which way over? That's like saying whenever you're co-piloting, turn, turn. I said turn, right? And you totally didn't turn the direction they wanted because they didn't give you enough what? Information. Do we understand that, yes or no? Okay, what's my B value? -2. Now, -2 is my B value, but what's my Y-intercept?
0.
I'm going to be picky because a y-intercept is a point. A point has an x and a y coordinate. Y'all with me on that? So I group this lovely jazz together and I do a little bit of copying. Then I come over to my next page and I do a little bit of graphing. Where do I start at? I start at 0, -2, and from there, what do I do? Go up 3 units to the right 2. Go up 3 units to the right 2. Up 3 units to the right 2. Are we good? Do I need to do more? I got the gist of it. I know what I'm looking at here. I'm good to go. So I connect the dots, la la la. Right? We're good to go. Yay, nays? Not that hard, right? Moving right along. How many times have you seen this picture? Probably every day. You watch the video, you should have seen it every day, right? Okay? This is your slope pick. Now I'm adding more information to your slope picture. Now, this is your slope picture. These are all the types of different lines that you can have whenever you graph. Now I'm going to put myself on this little line here, and I got my little sled behind me. Okay, it snowed tremendously. Nice packed snow. I can get a good fast sled going, right? So if I want to go sled ride, I have to do what first?
Tough snow.
I need to go up the hill. When I go up the hill, it's going to be positive. So I'm up the hill. I get to the top of the hill, and what do? I slide down the hill, which means the hill is negative, correct? I get to the bottom of the hill where my house is, because my house is built on level ground, right?
Then you smack into your house.
And a slope here is going to be 0. And then I'm just like a little kid that anytime you see a railing, you grab the railing and you do what every time? You want to look down and see what's over the railing, because curiosity is cat every time, right? You want to see what's down there, that there's a railing that you're not supposed to get, right? Because it's never a railing unless you're not supposed to go over. Your statement? Okay? So that means, do you know what's over the railing? No, you don't know what's over the railing, which is why it's undefined, meaning it's undetermined what's down there. Do you understand that, yes or no? This doesn't make any sense to you, that a line that looks like that, that's vertical, it's like a wall? Oh, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. Because you can only build your house on level ground, which means the slope is 0, has no slope. Okay? All right, now, what I want you to add is this part right here. When you land on the mountain, positive or negative slope, the equations that land on the mountain have both x and y in them. Does that make sense? If there's an x and a y in an equation together, that means you're going to land on the mountain somewhere. Okay? If you have only a y in yours, and it's y equals a number, there's no x, that means it has a slope of 0, and it's a level slope. Do we understand that? When you have just an x in it, that means it's undefined. Now think of it this way. If you have x in it, x marks the spot. What are you going to do if you find an x marks the spot? What? Dig for treasure. Do you know what's in the treasure? No. Because that's why you're digging, because you want to know what's in the treasure. So it's undetermined what's in the treasure, right? So therefore it's undefined for a slope. Does that make sense? I know it's really dumb, y'all, but that makes you remember the difference between a slope of 0 and a slope of x, or slope of undefined. You with me? Okay, you need to remember this because if I give you something that looks like this, and I say, what's my slope? Is it x marks the spot? Can you use undefined? You don't need to dig for it? No, what is it?
It's 0.
It's 0. Which means my next thing is, what's my y-intercept? Well, if it's 0, what does the graph y equals 4 look like? Do not tell me it's a straight line, because I haven't seen a line yet that's not straight, y'all. No. So tell me, what does this line look like? See, I like those words. Horizontal gives me a direction. I understand that. Vertical gives me a direction.
Up and down.
Up and down would be also known as vertical in small boy language. Big boy language is vertical. So this is the line y equals 4. Do we see that? Yes or no? Okay? So my question to you is, what's the y-intercept? The point on the graph crosses the y-axis, so does it cross the y-axis?
No.
Yes. Does it
Yes.
stay lower?
Yes.
That's why it doesn't know.
Does it cross the y-axis?
Yes.
Where?
4.
Excuse me?
4.
At the point, where does it cross the y-axis?
4.
Right there at the x-axis.
0, 4.
Thank you. It crosses at the point 0, 4. If you just tell me 4, I'm marking it wrong. If you tell me 0, you're definitely wrong. If you don't put them together, you're getting it wrong. 0, 4. Do you understand that? Who said no? Because a y-intercept is a point. A y-intercept means that x is always 0, and then it's going to be the point where it crosses the y-axis. Well, at this value, it's going to be at 4. Does that make sense? If it was y equals 10, it would be the point of 0, 10. If it was y equals 35, it would be the point of 0, 35. It's whatever y is equal to in this case. That's your y-intercept. Does that make sense? Let's do one like this, and then I'll come back to it. X equals 3. What's my slope? Why is it undefined? Just saying. Yeah, good job. It's a vertical line, so therefore it's undefined slope because x marks the spot. Remember? Undetermined what's in there. What's my y-intercept? What does the graph x equals 3 look like? It's a vertical line at the value 3. What's my y-intercept? The y-intercept, by definition, is the point on the graph where it crosses the y-axis. What now?
Doesn't cross the y-axis.
It doesn't cross the y-axis, because the y-axis is over here, and the green line is to the right of it.
There was someone that quit, and I didn't know how to do that.
So therefore, does this thing have a y-intercept? No. Does that make sense? That's where this part right here, you have to memorize it, and you have to be able to apply it. Okay? Do we understand that? Now, there's one other thing I need to talk to you about. Y equals is your generic, regular thing. It's what you call your mom and dad all the time.
Mom, Dad.
Right? That's mom and dad. This is what is comfortable to you. This is what you know. But if you're introducing them to somebody, if you say, Mrs. Yoder, I'd like you to meet my mom and dad, or you say, Mrs. Yoder, I'd like you to meet Mr. and Mrs. whatever.
I said mom
You
and
don't
dad.
just say mom and dad. I'm not going to call them mom and dad, am I?
You could if you want to.
What am I going to call them? I'm going to call them by their names or Mr. and Mrs. Think of it this way.
No, then they say,
Just a minute. Boyfriend or girlfriend, you're going out on a date for the first time. You go out to pick them up or you go to their house. You're going to say, what up, Mom? What up, Dad? Why do you suppose you don't do that?
because then their parents will probably,
Out of respect for them, the chances are you're not going to date their little girl ever again. chances are mommy's not going to release her little hold on her little boy there, and you're just going to be not going to do that.
Little boy.
Uh,
I hope you're talking to the girls, so I'm taking offense to that.
Now, do we understand that? So, f of x, mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. are still the same person, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which would imply that y is the same thing as f of x. Now, how many of you in here have two best friends? You have a couple really good friends, right? Yep. Okay? When you go to their house, one set of parents will call them mom and dad, and then go to your other friend's house, you may still call them mom and dad too, right?
Yeah.
Okay? How would you distinguish between the two different sets of parents? F of x, g of x, h of x. They're different functions, but they all still represent y. Do we understand that? They're just nicknames for each other. Now, why am I talking to you about that? Because tonight's homework, you're going to see function notation. It's going to be the f of x and the g of x.
Are those just random letters?
They are random letters. It could be w of x. The x means that it has x in it. It doesn't mean it. It means it's a different function.
You didn't give us enough papers. Thank you.
The of x means that it's defined in terms of x. If it was f of a, that means it would be in terms of a. It means it has The more you talk, the less opportunity I have to tell you what to do with your homework. Because I will not speak over you. Again, I will not speak over you. Now, problems 1 through 6. You have to solve all of those for y, find the slope, find the y-intercept. If there is no y in the equation, that means it's function notation. Like if you have an f of x or g of x in there, it just means it's function notation. You can replace it with a y. Now, there are a couple on there that actually have y equals a number or x equals a number. I did an example like that, did I not? Okay, problem 7, 8, and 9. You need to solve all of those for y, and then graph them exactly like we did here. So find the slope and the y-intercept and graph them. Turn it over, problems 10, 11, and 12. What they're asking you to do on 10, 11, and 12 is they're going to say, given a line, they want you to find the y-intercept and the slope. So what are you going to do there? You're going to find 2 points on that line where they are hit at crosshairs. There's a point right here, and here's a point right here. I'm not doing this specific problem on your worksheet. I just made one up here. So I'm going to start from which point? My bottom point or my top point to find my slope? Your bottom point. So I'm going to go up 2 units, whoa, and I'm going to go over 2 units to give you a slope of 1. Okay, so you need to find your y-intercept and your slope. 13. I release you, not the bell. Problem, the y-intercept is the point on the graph across the y-axis. And number 13, you need to think about what the slope is. Tomorrow, this is due. Have a great day.
We got to map all these.
Graph the ones where it says graph. This is the part where reading would be helpful.